Hey everybody! In this video, I'm going to be showcasing the advanced techniques that I often use in my build videos. So let's get started. This first technique is called floating. I have a table that I can place a flower pot on. If I grab the table with left click, move it somewhere else, and then use the number 1 key, it'll pull out the item from my inventory that was in the number 1 key slot. If I then pull an item out of my inventory and place it on the anchor point table, I can then grab the table and left click to place it. This will launch the flower pot off the anchor point the same distance that I moved it originally. Not all objects can be used as anchor points, because not all objects can be placed on top of other objects. This chair, for instance, can't be placed on top of this table, but it can be placed on the ground. The Winterlight's red present, for example, is unique in that the top of it acts as if it was ground. For that reason, it can be used to float many different objects. Other objects include building blocks. You can place most any item on top of a building block. For that reason, they also serve as great anchor points for objects. An added bonus to blocks such as iron or copper is that they ignore collision, meaning that if the anchor point is an iron or copper building block, you can float the item into other objects and walls and buildings. The final location placement and orientation of your floated item will depend on the placement, location, rotation of your anchored item. So if you build a contraption that is rather strange, then the end result for your floated item will also be quite strange. This next technique is termed cancellation. If I have an object on top of another object, such as this chair, and I want to place this wardrobe where this chair is, I can left click to pick up the chair and then pull an item out of my inventory with the corresponding number of where that item is. I have this bug in the number 4 spot, so I press number 4 and it pulls it out of my inventory, simultaneously canceling the placement of that chair. It did not actually get placed on the ground. I can then pick up this wardrobe with left click and place it on top of this platform here. When I then pick up the platform, the chair goes with me, and then if I place the platform, the chair returns back to where it was. If you're placing an item on the ground, outside, or in your house and don't have it on an item to cancel, you can still use this same method. I can grab the chair with left click and move it somewhere else. I can then use the number 3 key, which pulls an item out of my inventory because I have an item in the number 3 spot. I can then left click to pick up the wardrobe and left click again to put it in the location of where the chair was. When I exit or when I reload my plot by going to a different plot and then returning to that original plot, it'll reset that item's move that never finished, and now the two are combined. This technique also works with objects such as work tables and cooking stations. After you move and cancel the placement of the station and place an item in its stead, you must leave the plot entirely. When you return to your plot, you'll see that the work table has returned to its original position and is now merged with the chair. This next technique is called obstacle placement. I'll demonstrate this with 3 couches. I have 2 couches I want to combine together, and I have a third couch that'll be my obstacle. I'm going to pick up one of the two couches, so it's in my inventory in the number 1 spot. The obstacle item is already placed on the ground. I'll use left click to pick it up and move it over to where the couch in my inventory is going to go. It must say that something is in the way for this to work. If it says invalid placement, it will not work. So once it's aligned, I will use left click and the number 1 key to bring the item out of my inventory. I will press the left click key slightly before the number 1 key in very quick succession. It doesn't always work, as you can see. Sometimes you just have to keep trying. But if you keep trying, it should eventually work. Sometimes it helps if you spam the left click key before you press the number 1 key, like this. If you're still unable to get the obstacle placement trick to work, it helps if you change some settings. First, setting the frame rate to 30, then changing some keybinds. Specifically, the move item keybind. If you add a secondary keybind such as V, or the confirm move keybind, and changing the action bar item use keybind. This is definitely the most difficult technique, simply because it doesn't always work. Whenever I find myself struggling to get it work, I find leaving my plot and coming back can help. Another tidbit: for whatever reason, this only works if you have unlocked all the writs on your plot. Writs are these squares on your plot that you have to purchase to unlock. If you have not unlocked all of these, then you cannot do the obstacle flicking technique. There is one more technique that I did not go over in this video. That's because I have a whole video I recently posted on this technique already. It's the gourmet stacking trick. I will link to that video in the description. Check that out, as it's a very cool trick that opens up a lot of possibilities. Otherwise, that would be all of the basics to the more advanced techniques that I have. With these basics, you can accomplish a lot. I do also want to say that I did not come up with all of these tricks myself. There is a Discord community that I'm a part of. It's full of some great people that have worked together to learn and polish these tricks that I shared in this video. I'll link to that Discord in the description. Feel free to come join us if you want to participate, or if you're just looking for ideas or more help, or just want to share what you're working on yourself. As always, thank you again for watching my video. I hope you found this helpful.